Alex, what was summer like for you? Just traveling with the trophy too, taking it back to College Station and the celebration of that.
Yeah, that was really cool. I didn't get the chance to do that the first time, just because of where we were as a world with COVID and everything that was going on. So that was fun to be able to go back and share it with some people that have seen me, kind of ascend, to that pinnacle of this profession through the years. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, a quick couple days, and then kind of just continued on with my summer.
I wanted to ask you about Chet. He's dealt with some major injuries that maybe have delayed part of his development, but still saw the impact that he could have. What are some of the areas that you think he could reach kind of a next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think just through time, experience is the greatest teacher. So to be able to just be out there and get, like you said, live reps and the inconsistency, I think, of like timing with the injuries too. It's like he's playing a little bit and then he had the first one, and then, or before his first year, he had the first one, and then played for a little bit and then the second one. So just getting that rhythm back, I think was really impressive for him, just to be able to not play all of last year basically, and then come into towards the end of the year and try and get back in shape, try and get the timing down. So I think the more comfortable he gets, you know, just continuing to find his rhythm and find the flow of basketball that comes naturally to him will be great. And hopefully this season, those reps and that experience will continue to just help him develop.
You've been a city champion before. I'm trying to remember if you went to Chicago right after that next year.
No, we have one more year in LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of
It was forgettable. That's why you don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The point is, you've been a defending champion before. None of you guys in the locker room have before. Is that something you talk about, or again, as Mark said, you guys got an uncommon group? You don't think you do?
I mean, being uncommon is being, aware and self-aware. And I think, if we didn't acknowledge that it will be a little different this year, you'd be, probably a little naive and put yourself behind the eight ball. But yeah, playing with the target on your back this year, I think there was a lot of times last year, even through our dominance through the regular season, that people kind of overlooked it or just was like, all right, well, let's wait and see how it pans out when it matters. And I think proving it in the playoffs and winning the championship, you know, solidifies that a little bit, at least in the basketball community, as far as like how you prepare for somebody. Maybe there's the respect you give them on any given night. So that will be different regardless of, we want it to be the same or normal. Like our routine won't change, but we have to have the self awareness and acknowledge that playing with the target on your back as the defending champions is different.
Alex, you mentioned the basketball community. I wanted to ask you, you have the most nicknames of anybody on this team on Basketball Reference, 7. How many can you name?
They actually just did it like 2 stations ago, so I could probably name all of them. If that, I know I'm cheating a little bit. They asked me my favorite one. I think Caruso is probably the favorite one. You want me to go through all of them?
No, you're fine.
I can't.
Yeah, let's go.
I did it 3 stations ago. Caruso, Accountant, Bald Mamba, White Mamba 2.0. How many was that?
Like 4.
Oh, maybe I can't name all 7. Which ones am I missing?
Bald Eagle,
Bald Eagle.
Goat,
Oh,
and
yeah.
AC. Just the easy one.
Oh, that one doesn't count. 6. 4 to 6. Pretty good.
Alex, you talked about you've been the only one who's had a championship season after winning one. Is there anything you can take away from that season after you guys won over in Los Angeles and apply it here?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult too, because that year after was it was so different than I think of how we're entering this season. The only similarities really are like how short of a time period we had to get back to it. But that second year I was in LA after we won the championship, or the fourth year, but first year afterwards, we had a fairly new team. We only had maybe 4 or 5 guys returning from that championship team. Whereas this year was pretty much the exact same DNA of the team makeup. So one thing I do know is, what I alluded to earlier is that, people know you're the reigning champs. Seats fill up a little easier. People start making shots maybe when they don't normally make shots. Things are stacked against you a little bit, but that's part of what being great takes is, being a champion, being number one, and then backing it up and seeing what you can do next. Because once the first game is played this year, everyone's going to kind of remember the championship, but it's on to the new season. Like there's no looking back. Like nothing we did last year is going to help us achieve the goal again this year.
I guess along those lines, Alex, the last six champions either didn't get past the second round or they were first round knockout like the Lakers that year. What can the Thunder do to break that chain going into next season? I know it's hard to predict because it's so early, but just from the outset, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, just finding ways to get better. I think the big thing for us, we took, well, other than maybe, the first in the conference finals, like the other two series went 7 games, so there's obviously room for improvement. And I think if you come into the season thinking that it's going to be smooth sailing and it's just going to be the same thing, like I said a word earlier, very naive to what reality is like, because every season has a different story. Every team writes a different story each season, just based on how many games there are, the ebbs and flows of the season. Injuries occur, things you can't predict, things you can't control. So I think for us, it's really just about seeing and finding ways to get better. And I think we do have room to improve, like I said, because teams took us to 7 games. It wasn't like we won 16 games in a row and we're crowned champions. So there's definitely room for improvement. It's just about finding those areas and then working on it throughout the season.
Yeah, Alex, last year, of course, we had some intrigue to start the season. You and Isaiah had joined the team. This year, nobody's joined the team that's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of just literally turning the roster, running it back?
Yeah, I mean, the continuity part obviously helps. It's not a lot of teaching early in the year, whereas, on different teams with new guys and you're learning different concepts and kind of strategically how you want to play. I think for us, that fighting the complacency, fighting the human nature of, winning and not sitting back and resting, but being on the front foot and being attacking the season and attacking the process of trying to get better, which I think we'll do a phenomenal job with. Obviously the season we had last year is, up there with some of the greats that just have ever happened in the NBA. So I think assuming you're going to win as many games and win the championship, like I said, this word is coming up again, is a little naive. Like you have to prepare yourself for tomorrow's first day of training camp. We got to go through practices, got to go through preseason. We got to play 82 games. Like there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. And I think, through that, just finding little motivations along the way, whether it's, through the team, through the collective. Like you said, we have a bunch of guys coming back, so finding different carrots to tie on the end of the stick to chase. I think that's probably a big thing too, because obviously the goal is to win a championship. Whether it's our team returning a bunch of guys with experience or people that have revamped their team that have new life and new spirit, but the process of getting there is difficult for everybody, no matter if you're returning everybody or you got 6 new guys.